Yes, my name is Carl Marshall. I'm glad that everybody's come here today to listen to my speech on slavery and human trafficking. Donald Trump has recently proclaimed the month of January as the Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. He recently signed an executive order to dismantle the transnational criminal organizations and to form a task force to monitor human trafficking. This task force will enable the Department of Human Services to begin training for anti-trafficking and slave industry. Plus, the State Department has given this organization $25 million to use against these joint actions to support the territory to remove these appalling worldwide operations. From the organization in coordination inside the federal agencies through our state, local governments, and throughout the expanding human reporting the trafficking, so we have a much better advantage. Every year there's thousands of children that's been adopted, misled, betrayed, and peddled into prostitution, bullied to serve men before being cast off. These traffic sex slaves and human slavery within the mainstream of some of the world's most profitable and well-known businesses. They produce massive profits for these leeches. After observing and eyewitnessing these criminals, some of these federal organizations started their investigating these crimes into all parts of the world. The new policy also from Great Britain has just been passed of March 26 of 2015. This also was law executed under the unspeakable and disgusting crimes of slave and human trafficking. Another great importance of this act, they formed a commission to develop necessary guidelines for the protection of victims of slavery and trafficking, and to build self-regulating department for improving the management operations of the human trafficking and slavery. Children are forced into slavery situations in human trafficking. Can appear as though they are in custody of non-family groups. They perform to maintain the monetary situation for these non-families. They are enslaved to their non-families, returned to those non-families, and don't send them to school. They don't give an option outside of any kind of outside interaction with friends. Those children have no recourse to leave or quit working and run away. But when they are found, they are faced with horrendous violence. All these depend on us. Their children depend on us, the grown-ups, to protect them and to trust us. Never going beyond to learn their school courses, their home regular ones. Never been able to go on recess, playing with their friends on the playground. And when they get older, going to the first date, and maybe even attend their junior or senior proms. These children are quiet, withdrawn, and placed in unfamiliar environments. The law prevents the primary business examination of modern slavery worldwide, concentrating it on its most lucrative and barbarous form of sex trafficking. The national issues with these universal forces that provide us to rise to the system of modern slavery over the past few decades and calculated for the cost effective of this industry. Definitely, this classifies the areas of slave and human trafficking industry that can be hardest hit by precisely designed interferences and advises a lawful, a strategic, and several policies that produces an aim to the objective zones and to eliminate these kinds of slavery once and for all. Matthew 19 tells us, 13 through 15, then the children was brought to him, so that he might put hands on them and pray. But the disciples rebuked him. Then Jesus said, leave these children alone. Don't try to keep them from coming to me, because the kingdom of heaven is made up of people like this. After putting his hands on them, then he went from them. And these offenders, they suffer such horrible abuse, torture, and ultimately these traffickers, the worthless men, he abuses these girls and young women. These lives are driven by a sword. We need to target the problems through organized governmental legal action. The world sits and tries to educate the young ones and ourselves from these heartless actions and journeys. Our new executive order by President Trump is put into place of these needs to boldly put into action. People need monitoring these bad streets, smuggling containers on the piers, worn-out buildings, in bad places of town, and so we can enforce these rules. There are so many heartbreaking stories of preteens being taken, begging on the streets, children being kidnapped for their own goods, for their own organs, hearts, kidneys, and the parents that may never see their children again. These standards, which we build our country on, are being used against us through our own children, to be used as country's manual work. These children that must have been trafficking for human slavery are focused on a purpose of mistreatment and manual employment. We need to draw the line that these youngsters are being taken advantage of, exploited, and to obtain unfair wages and profit for these businesses. The laws are improving to some degree to apprehend these people and stop the abusive habit for abusing these children. In my references from the Holy Bible and Charles Donnelly, Can I Come to America a Stay? And in one last reference, Donald Trump, Law and Justice. I appreciate it and thank you everybody for coming. Thank you again. God bless.